How you going, guys? Welcome back to another video. On this one, I'll be restoring some HK GTS Monaro badges. We've got a tail light panel and some tail light protectors. Now, I'll be painting the didnt paint blood red candy over these parts to replicate how they looked back in the 70s when this car was made. Now, there's two different variants of candies that you can apply to restore some of these parts. Now, you have a premixed and you have a concentrate. Now, the premixed actually has 10% of candy in that candy. By the time you reduce that down so it's sprayable 1:1, that equates to 5% of strength of candy in that premixed candy. So if you were to say, I want to achieve this shade of candy, you must apply between 3 and 5 coats. Now, because I want to try and half the amount of coats, which equates to less paint on these parts, which then equates to less paint edges that I'll get by the time I unmask them, I want to try and achieve the same color, but less coats of paint. So that's where the candy concentrate comes into play. So candy concentrate, for those that are a little bit unfamiliar with what a concentrate is, it's exactly as it sounds. Very similar to your cordial that you reduce down with water so it's drinkable. So very similar. So with the concentrate, guys, as I said about the premixed, it's 10% of concentrate. By the time it's sprayable, it's 5%. So what I'm gonna do, guys, is use the concentrate. I'm gonna measure it up on some scales to 20% of concentrate. So by the time I reduce that 1:1, it's then 10% of candy concentrate, which means that I can effectively apply half the amount of coats as the premixed and get the same color. So with that said, guys, I'll stop rambling on. I'll show you the masking that I've done on these parts so you guys have a better understanding. I'll show you exactly how I've positioned everything. I've got a little bit of masking to do on the badges. So let's stop rambling on. Let's get into this video. We'll jump in the paint room. I'll show you exactly what I'm gonna do. Now, it's a very good idea to mix up a couple of different amounts of candy concentrates. So you can do some test spray out samples to achieve the shade of the candy. So that's what we're gonna do. I'll show you all of that. Let's get into this video right now. Alrighty, guys, so we've got a cup here, we've got our FX Indicoat, and we've got our concentrated blood red. So what we're gonna do, guys, is throw a cup on those scales, and we're gonna zero that scale out so it's reading 0. I'm gonna throw in roughly 250 grams of the candy, of the FX Indicoat, and then 20% of 250 is 50. So I'll just take that up to 250. There we go. I'm 0.3 of a gram over, which that's not gonna make any difference really. So we've got our concentrated candy here. We'll just take the lid off that without making a big mess, hopefully. All right, so we wanna now zero that out and then put 50 grams into this FX Indicoat. So we've gone just over by 3.3 grams, but it won't matter too much. It will actually probably work more in my favor. So now we've got that, we'll now take that over here. We'll grab a stick just to show you guys how potent this is. We'll give it a quick stir up. You'll notice that it's actually really, really dark, like extremely, extremely dark. So that's a really great looking candy right there. So now what we want to do is now mix this 1:1 with a candy reducer. So we'll go grab the candy reducer and we'll just add the same amount that's in here now. So we're roughly sitting at about 400 mil. So then we'll put another 400 mil into this cup, which will take us up to 800 mil. For that, guys, we've got our base coat medium reducer and we've got our silver flare here. So this is mixed at a 60-40 mixture. So we'll mix that up in just a moment. But what we really want to be doing right now, guys, is taking a look at the etch primer. Now with the etch primer, guys, this is mixed 1-to-1 with the activated reducer. So we'll open this up, we'll throw probably 100 mil of the etch prime into this cup and then another 100 mil of the activated reducer in there as well. That will give us a total of 200 mil. That'll be enough to give us a couple of coats over those parts in the booth. All right, guys, now that our etch primer has been applied, we'll let that sit for about 15 minutes now at about 25 degrees, and we'll mix up our base coat. So this is the silver flare metallic base coat, which is a silver coarse metallic, which is a really great base for the candy. So these didnt Paints cups have all the mixing ratios on the cup. They even have the 60-40 mixture on there, which other brands of cups don't actually have. So very, very good to use, especially when you're using the didnt Paints products. Just wipe that up there. All right, so base coat has a base coat reducer. Very important that you don't mix any of the reducers up, or else you're gonna have drying time problems. So we'll open this up and take that up to the next one. You may need to slightly mix a little bit more of this. I actually forgot that we're painting a really large panel. So that should be enough though. It should cover pretty good over the green etch. But yeah, we'll find that out when we put a coat down, but it should be pretty good, I think. So for this, we're going to be using the 190 micron filters. We'll just grab one of them. Throw this in the gun. Make sure that our gun's nice and clean. I did spray this through with some gum wash, so we'll just make sure that our cup or our pot is nice and clean there. Throw that in. Throw our base coat in there. And we're right to start applying. Our silver flare has been applied. We apply 3 coats over the etch prime. It's time now to grab one of these candy filters. These will filter the candy much better than 190 micron filter. So we've got our candy here. It's all mixed up, ready to rock and roll. So we'll pour this in and we'll apply 2 coats over all those parts in there. Beauty. Alright guys, now that we've got our candy down, so I ended up, to get the look that I was after, I ended up putting 3 coats of candy colours down. I really wanted it dark, and yeah, I'm kind of glad that I went with the concentrated version, because I would have ended up having to put 6 coats of candy down, so or 6 or 7. So I'm pretty happy with that. So here we've got our custom clear, one of my personal favourite like clear coats. It's really great. Like you can really hammer it on a panel. You don't get any solvent boil. It just flows out dead flat. It's really, really great. So for the custom clear, we need to use a FX hardener. So we've got this in medium, and the ratio is 4:1, no reducer.